Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to Rachel's Fil-Am family. Today we're going to make a medicine for Stephanie.
We're really excited because this is the very last day that Stephanie has to take Sabril for infantile spasms. She's been taking it for years. Yeah. I mean, she was on it for over a year, and then we took her off for a bit, and then we had to put her back on it.
Yes, good.
And then now we've been weaning her off of it for about 6 weeks. Yeah, it's been since October. We slowly have been drawing down the amount of medicine she takes. So today's the last day. She just has to take 1 milliliter of medicine this morning and 1 milliliter of medicine tonight, and then that's it for this one. And then she'll be down to just 1 seizure medicine. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and give her morning dose. And then a little bit later, what we'll do is we'll talk about infantile spasms and go through Stephanie's struggles with them, and then we'll actually show the videos that we have. We've got 2 different videos, and one of them is of the very first time that she had an infantile spasm. So, all right, she's getting rambunctious here, so let's go ahead and let's get her medicine made and get it in, okay?
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Now we gotta put a 10 ml water here. There you go. And then we can, we're going to open this and pour it in this bottle. And then we're going to shake it. And this is ready because the water is clear and you can't see any powder in there. And we're gonna take 1 ml. That's right, and give it to her.
Come here, Stephanie.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Such a big girl. I'm gonna take her medicine, and there you go. 1 more. Yay!
All
Good
right,
job, Stephanie.
Stephanie, just 1 more of those tonight, and that's the last time you have to take that medicine.
And
okay.
we're gonna get you some Vimpat. Right?
All right.
Hang in there.
All right. All right, guys. Right now, we'd like to give you an update on Stephanie's history with infantile spasms. She's really only had a handful of them, but she's been on the medicine for quite a while. And she did go off a little bit and then have to come back on. So anyway, the way it all began was, it was on December 29th of 2017. And I was traveling from the island of Kwajalein in the Marshall Islands. We had lived there for a while. And I was leaving there in order to move to Alabama so that we could live here. And on the 29th of December 2017, I was actually in a hotel room in Honolulu, Hawaii, because the next day I had to catch a flight in order to come to Alabama. Well, while I was there, Marcel gave me a call, and she said that she thought, well, we were going to talk anyway. We were already talking, but then she said she thought Stephanie might be having an infantile spasm. And it was nice that she was able to know what that was. Due to Stephanie's tuberous sclerosis, we had already expected her to have infantile spasms, so we were watching out for them.
And then we've been watching videos of the child that has...
That is true.
So just like
the one we're going to show of Stephanie, we had a lot of YouTube videos since the neurologist had told us, due to her tuberous sclerosis and her brain tumors and everything, that there was a strong probability she was going to have infantile spasms. Of course, we went to YouTube and we researched videos, and so we knew what to look for. And we had been cautiously optimistic that maybe we were going to dodge the bullet, because typically infantile spasms kick off around 7 to 8 months. They can start much earlier than that, and they can start much later than that, but the vast majority fall within a 7 to 8 month time period when they start.
Which is, she is 7 months.
Well, she was 7.5 months. So we were thinking, okay, we're halfway through this month. If we can just get through another couple weeks, we'll be good. And also, I'm going to show some neurological clinic notes that her neurologist, Dr. Elias, had written up, because on December 29th, 2017, they had actually gone to visit him that day, and he had made a note in his clinic notes basically stating that the mother had no concerns for infantile spasms. And that was when they went there in the morning.
Yes.
And then that night, Stephanie had her very first infantile spasm while I was on the phone with Rochelle. It was just weird how that happened. If they would have waited one more day, you know, they would have been able to say, yeah, she had her first one last night. So while Rochelle was talking to me and saying, oh my gosh, I think she's having one, I went ahead and told her, I was like, get off the phone with me, because she was using her phone to FaceTime.
Yes.
I said, you need to record this now. And so fortunately she did. And so we were able to capture Stephanie's very first infantile spasm episode on video. I keep looking this direction because we have the laptop up over here. I'm going to show you guys the video here in a little bit. When we show this video, which I think, let's just go ahead and jump into that. What you're going to notice is how subtle her very first one was. What you're going to see is mostly just her eyes kind of rolling off to the side and then coming right back. And yeah, her arms moved a little bit, but in that first one, yeah, but not in that first one though, not so much. Her first infantile spasm, you're going to see the difference because we have another video too of one that happened about a day and a half later. But her first one was so subtle, I'm surprised that Rochelle even noticed that it was happening, okay?
Yeah, because she's acting different, just like, this is weird. I got a feeling it's like, oh no, this might be it.
And
what
it was
we're looking for.
It was. There's no doubt about it, it was.
Yeah.
So when you watch this video, you'll see just how small the movements are, but they just repeat once every few seconds, every 5 or 6 seconds. And it starts out stronger, and then it gets, the movements become less pronounced, even from the very beginning where it really wasn't that much. Also, I'm going to leave the audio in on this one. So what you're going to hear is you're going to hear the sound of a first-time mother who knows that her daughter might be having infantile spasms, because we've been looking for it and dreading it. So you're going to hear a little bit of panic in her voice early on as she's realizing what she's seeing. And then as it subsides, what you're going to hear is Rochelle as she goes into denial and says, maybe that's not really what I saw. But she was accurate in the beginning. It truly was infantile spasms. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show that video right now.
Stephanie, are you okay? Baby, are you okay? You okay, baby? Alright. I guess I was wrong.
So that was the video of Stephanie's very first infantile spasm, period. And again, I don't think that there was a hidden one prior to that or anything. I really do believe that was the first one she had. So what we're going to do now is just jump into the next video. And this one happened, it wasn't the second one. She had a few of them over the course of the weekend because we had to wait for the weekend to get over before we could get into the neurologist again to get the EEG done, right, to prove that it was infantile spasms. So, and that's true, yeah, it was New Year's Eve over that weekend. So, so anyway, this video that I'm going to show you next was taken about a day and a half later, okay? And what you're going to see in this one, especially if you play this video back and you can go and look at the first one versus this one. So over the course of a day and a half, the movements got much more pronounced. They got bigger, okay? Her eyes got wider. They moved a little farther. What you'll notice on this one is, on the first one, her shoulders just went up a little bit and her eyes kind of rolled off. This one here, her shoulders really come up, her head goes down. And on this one also, you're going to notice that just within a day and a half, suddenly her knees are coming up also. It's like her body's trying to jackknife, like if she's trying to take her head and put it down towards her knees, you know. It's much more pronounced. Still not a wildly exaggerated move, but it definitely progressed a lot over the course of just a day and a half.
That you can really tell it is an infantile spasm.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, all right, so let's go ahead and we'll show that video now. And I do want to apologize because two things. Number one, the second video here, she had been eating. And believe it or not, if you go and look up West syndrome or infantile spasms, especially with tuberous sclerosis, what they will state is that they typically happen after sleeping or when you're sleepy or after you eat. So here, she had just finished eating. She does have food all over her mouth because she was eating baby food, so she's going to look a little messy when this took place. The other thing is, unfortunately, there is a fly. All right, so there's a fly that's going to land on her head and buzz around her head a little bit at part of this, you know, but I'm not going to not show this video because there's a fly in it and she's got some food on her face. I really want this to help people who might be looking for signs, you know, when it comes to infantile spasms. So, all right, so let's go ahead and show that video right now.
Yeah, we need to call Dr. Arias' office.
Hey, your supplies. You okay?
Every time when she's doing it, she's so quiet and she don't know what to do.
All right, guys, so that's both the first time that Stephanie had an infantile spasm and then a day and a half later and how much it progressed during that time. So, yeah. So,
and that first time,
the very first one?
that just like I'm still doubting that it is it or not. It's just like, it's break my heart to see my daughter.
Yeah.
And thinking that she has a lot of just like they it's like it's still breaking my heart until now. Every time I remember that.
Yeah.
She has 8 brain tumor that time that we know. And
Yeah. At that time, yeah,
Just
8
like-
brain tumors and
and
other,
I don't know what to do, just like because we can't bring her to the hospital immediately. And the hospital, it took us 45 minutes to get there. And it was night.
Yeah.
And you have to call the doctor, and then they have to tell you when you can come.
Had to schedule it
And-
because the reason why they had to do that was because she needed an EEG in order to prove, that this was infantile spasm seizure activity.
Yeah.
So we had to have that scheduled, and again, it was a holiday weekend. And
Yes.
so even Children's Mercy Hospital had a difficult time getting us in there. We had to wait for a few days in order to get in there. But I think it was the 2nd of January. So we went from the 29th of December when she had her first infantile spasm until the 2nd of January when we were able to get in there. And when I say we, I wasn't there because I was traveling. I was in Alabama at the time, so she was in Kansas City with my mother.
And your mother.
Right.
I just, and then I told my mother-in-law, just like, Mom, that was the next day. Mom, I think Stephanie has started having infantile spasm. And then she said, huh. So then we observed her.
Right.
And then,
She had a few of them during that weekend,
she, that next day after that night that I took a video, she did show, but it's not really like, it's just the same as the one that we talked a video that night. But it's not the same that day that she was eating.
Right. And I apologize. We do have children screaming in the back room right now. Just part of having babies. You're going to have some noise associated with it.
Yes.
So I will tell you that on the 2nd of January, when they had the visit and the EEG overnight, they had me on FaceTime and so I was able to actually watch inside the room where they had Stephanie taped up, all the electrodes on her head and everything.
Oh my.
Yeah, and then when she would have these spasms, I got to witness a couple of them. It was you and my mom, had to announce, hey, we're having one. They had a button they had to push, and then they had to describe what they were seeing. So, I'm FaceTiming with Rochelle, and my mom is over there going, okay, her eyes are rolling off to the left or to the right, or, her head is drooping down, her knees are coming up, her shoulders are moving up, her arms are going straight, and they had to describe all this. Well, needless to say, there was a diagnosis of infantile spasms, which, again, infantile spasms is also called West syndrome, so you can look for that as well. But she had them. There's no question about it. The EEG proved positive that it was infantile spasms. So immediately they started her on a medicine called Sabril, which I think is the brand name. It's also called Vigabatrin. Yeah. And she went on that medicine, and from the very first dose, they stopped. Right? And the thing about those infantile spasms is the fact that if you don't get them stopped, they will cause intellectual disability down the road, right? And I'm not saying that Stephanie isn't going to have that anyway due to numerous health issues that she has, but at least we did get those stopped, and I have to say that medicine stopped from the very first dose, period.
Yes.
She had no more. And she was on that medicine for a year, a little over. Okay. And then after she'd been on it for a year, so she got from about 8 months old, almost, it was like 7 months and 3 weeks or something, is when she started it. And she took it up until she was probably about 13 or 14. Well, excuse me, she was a year and a half, easily. We went from January up to February the next year. Right, so she was about a year and 9 months. My math is horrible, isn't it? So,
I'm just thinking also.
Right, so she was about a year and 9 months when we finally weaned her off of it at that point in time, because the neurologist said, hey, she's almost 2, and hopefully these are done. But what happened was about 6 months later, she began to show signs once again of infantile spasms. So she was just a little bit over 2 years old, and then she started having these repeated body jerks and things again.
Yeah.
But she did go for several months without any issues.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, that's
then, right.
Mm-hmm.
So they put her back on Sabril.
Yes, because we show some signs, and
Right.
we took her back to Children's Mercy, and then the doctor said, okay, let's put her back to Sabril.
Right. And it helped.
Yes, it stopped.
It stopped it once again. And so then that was in about September of 2019 when we put her back on it. We took her off around February of 2018, put her back on around September of 2019. And then she was on it for a whole nother year. So then in October, we went up to Children's Mercy Hospital, October of 2020, just a few months ago, for her yearly MRI. She has to have one every year because she has brain tumors, tumors in her eyes, heart, kidneys. She has to get it all looked at just to make sure nothing's growing. And so we asked the doctor then if we could take her back off, and he said, oh yeah, you know, he was going to tell us to take her off of it anyway because she's, you know, over 3 years old.
Yeah.
And typically these infantile spasms, a lot of times they just stop by the age of 2. Sometimes they can last up to the age of 5, but, you know, we definitely think that she'll be okay taking it off.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to point out that the medicine, Sabril, although it did a fantastic job of stopping her infantile spasms, it kind of slowed her down. I don't know how else to say it. She had she was progressing better until she started taking it. And when we took her off of it, and I don't want to tell anybody, do not take Sabril. Obviously, we recommend it. It worked just fine. But when we took her off of it there for a few months, she seemed to progress mentally much more. She was more engaged. She would pick up a few more words. She is nonverbal for the most part, though. However, once we put her back on it, she just kind of faded back into just being what she... Yeah,
she always feels so sleepy without medicine.
Right. And so since we've started weaning her off of it, because we started in October, she was taking 14 milliliters of medicine in the morning and 14 at night.
Yeah.
And so we had to go down to 13 in the morning, 13 at night, and then after another week down to 12 and 12, and after another week. So we've been doing this for, gosh, almost 3 months until we finally get it down to where it is. And here in a little bit, she's going to take her very last dose.
Yes.
And we hope it will permanently be her very last dose of Sabril.
Yeah.
Now, she still has another seizure medicine she takes because she also had focal seizures. She's probably had about 1,000 of those.
Oh,
yeah. But
this focal seizure...
those are pretty under control also with this medicine called Vimpat, but that's not what this video is about. You know, we're talking about infantile spasms here. So, So I guess what I'm going to go ahead and do is let you guys go. I hope you enjoyed these videos and learned from them. And here in a little bit, what we'll do is we're going to film Stephanie taking her very last dose of Sabril. And then we are praying that she will never have another infantile spasm to where we have to put her back on them. So we're hoping she's outgrown them by now. All right? So,
oh my God, this medicine.
Yeah.
She is really feeling sleepy and grumpy and don't want to learn anything.
Even her teacher at school says that she's much more engaged in school right now than she was just 3 months ago. So, which is huge.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and hang up for this little segment here. Hang up. That's hilarious. We're going to go ahead and stop the video for this segment, and then we'll be back. We'll film a little bit more when we give her our last dose. All right? All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Hi, guys. We're back. We're getting ready to give Stephanie her very last dose of Sabril, hopefully for the rest of her life. Oops! We got someone coming in. Incoming. That's right, Billy. You tell us about it. Oh my goodness.
What is that, Billy?
You know, it's only in the last couple days where he's really decided to give up crawling and actually walk. So, all right. So one thing we forgot to mention earlier when we were talking is the extreme cost of Sabril. Okay.
Yes.
So it costs our insurance company over $10,000 a month for this medicine. We fortunately just have a $20 copay, so we're not out the $10,000 or more. But it's ridiculously expensive. And I added everything up. Now Stephanie is on 2 seizure medicines right now until she finishes this one, then she'll be down to the 1. But in 2020, from January 1st, 2020, up until the end of the year of 2020, our insurance company paid $141,000 in medicine. Just a ridiculous amount. And I cannot help but think about people who don't have insurance. How can they afford this? It's impossible. If I don't have a bad job. Let's be honest, we're middle class. I don't make enough money in a year to pay for that. If I didn't spend anything, I guarantee you I am not bringing home $141,000. No. And the Vimpat that she takes was probably only about $10,000 of that. So our insurance company will be grateful to be able to save $130,000 this year or more. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get this medicine made. I'll take him. Oh, come here, Billy. Well, you're going to miss having to mix this every week, aren't you?
Well,
uh-oh. Here she comes.
This is more. Tomorrow, it will be more better. Because it's more easier
All right,
to give her
Stephanie.
medicine.
I think she knows it's time for medicine, so.
Yes, baby girl, hold on. We're almost done.
Hey.
It is. Yahoo! Are you happy?
This is your last dose that you'll ever have to take of this medicine.
All right. There we go. Oh, she's running away.
As soon as it's time, she runs. So. All right, I'm going to go get her. I'll be right back. All right, Stephanie. Last dose in 3, 2, 1. And
Last one.
3, 2, 1.
Good.
Yay! Oh, good job, baby girl. Yay! Woo!
No more
Nice. All right. Good job, baby girl. We're going to keep an eye on her and make sure that she doesn't have any infantile spasms that reoccur. We still have a few packets left of medicine, so if something happens, we'll talk to the neurologist and we can definitely get her on it, even if we're still waiting for a dose to come from the pharmacy. But, all right, that's it. Well, guys, thanks for watching. We greatly appreciate it. And if any of this helps out anybody, then let's just say I hope it does. Because we definitely referenced a lot of YouTube videos about infantile spasms when we were looking into it.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that the 2 videos we have will help somebody down the road when they're trying to determine whether or not what they're seeing is infantile spasms also. But thanks for watching. And if you want to keep up with Stephanie and everybody else in the family, we're going to continue to post videos.
Yes.
And we're definitely going to be talking about her a lot more because she's got more than one issue. So, we'll be bringing that up. But, somebody's mad. All right, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.